Good morning. This is Chris Fisher. I'm reading Jake Drake Know It All by Andrew Clemens. We are on chapter 4, Hunters. And if you remember, Jake just got the science fair rules and he is looking over them while he was supposed to be reading his book. So you should be reading your book now. You could be following along with me as I read. Okay, chapter 4, Hunters. By lunchtime, I had read everything about the science fair twice. I was ready to work, so I waited until just before lunch. I waited until Miss Snavin was alone at her desk. Then I went up to her and asked for a library pass for after lunch. And I kind of whispered, and when she gave me the pass, I hid it in my hand. But Marcia saw it anyway because Marcia was watching me like a cat watches a hamster. And right away, she jumped up and rushed over to the teacher's desk. She said, Mrs. Snavin, a library pass. Could I have one too? Except Marcia didn't whisper. So 3 seconds later, Kevin also had a library pass. Oh no, because that's the way it is, and you have to get used to it. Know-it-alls are usually copycats too. After lunch, the library was like a know-it-all convention. All the smart kids were there, plus all the kids who thought they were smart, plus all the kids who wanted everyone else to think they were smart, plus me. We were all there. Everyone wanted a head start. Everyone wanted to win. The only good thing was that not all the kids there were in third grade. Besides me and Marcia and Kevin, there were only 3 other third graders, and Pete Morris wasn't one of them. I looked out the window and I saw Pete. He was out by the bushes near the fence. He was bending over. He was looking at one of the branches. But my best friend Willie was in the library. His real name is Phil, but his last name is Willis, so everyone calls him Willie, even his teachers. Willie's third grade teacher was Mrs. Fruel. When Willie saw me, he smiled and came over to my table. Hey, he said, isn't it great? I mean, about the computer. I would love to have that thing in my room. Got any good ideas yet? I think I might try to build a bridge or something like that. You know, something big. How about you? What do you want to do? But all I said was, listen, Willie, I've got to work now, okay? Sure, said Willie, but I thought maybe we could be partners. We could make something totally, like totally total. Willie was a great at starting sentences. Finishing them was the hard part. I shook my head. Won't work, Willie. What if what we make wins first prize? Then what? Willie looked at me like I was nuts. Then we'll have this cool computer. That's what. We can keep it at your house sometime and at my house some other time. It'll be great. I shook my head. Uh, uh, uh. I don't think so, Willie. I think we better just do our own stuff. Willie shrugged. Okay, but if I win, I'll still let you use my computer sometimes, okay? That's nice of Willie. I smiled and said, sure, that'll be great. But inside to myself, I said, you win the science fair? Forget about it, Willie. That grand prize is mine. Which was not very nice. But when you have to get the right answer and you have to get it first and you have to win, and then you don't have as much time to be nice anymore. When Willie walked away, I looked at the papers about the science fair again. There was a part that said you could make a project that used fire and acid. No, it said you couldn't make a fire project. So let me read that again. There was a part that said you couldn't make a project that used fire or acid. For electricity, you could only use batteries, and you couldn't use chemicals that might explode or make smoke. Those rules knocked a lot of the fun stuff off the list. In the booklet, it said there would be 5 judges. So I tried to think like a science fair judge, but I got tired of that. It was hard enough to think like a third grader. I grabbed my papers and went over to the computer that was hooked up to the internet. I sat down, clicked on search, and then typed in science fair projects. In 2 seconds, I got a message. It said 206,996 web pages matched my search, and the first 10 links were on the screen. So I clicked on the link, and that said Science Fair Helper. Sounded like the right stuff, and it was. It had some good things, so I clicked on a second link, and the second link had some good things too, and so did the third link, and the fourth link, and the fifth link. Then it hit me. There was probably a good idea on every page, all 206,996 of them. But I didn't need 200,000 ideas. I just needed one. I needed my idea. I felt something behind me. I turned around real quick, and guess what? It was Kevin Young. He had come up right behind me, and he was staring at the screen. My screen. Hey, I said, what are you doing, Kevin? Kevin shrugged. Nothing. I said, then go do nothing somewhere else. Kevin had red hair and his face was freckled, and his eyes were real pale blue, and he didn't blink much. Kevin stuck out his chin and said, I can be anywhere I want to be. I can be anywhere I want in the library. And you know, it's against the rules to copy a project from the internet. And from around the end of some shelves, suddenly Marcia was standing there next to Kevin. She nodded her head so her ponytail bobbed up and down. That's right, what Kevin said about copying. How it's like cheating. It was hard not to get mad, real mad. But all I said was, what, do you think I'm stupid? I know not to cheat. Just mind your own business, both of you. You know what things look like right now. It looks like you two are copying ideas from me. That's what it looks like. They left, and I was still pretty mad. But when I thought about it later, I felt better about Kevin and Marcia watching out for me. I mean, I was something they weren't so sure about. It made me feel good because if they were worried about me, that meant I was worth worrying about. Jake Drake was something those know-it-alls didn't know about, and they both knew it. Here's Jake sitting at the computer with Marcia and Kevin looking over his shoulder. And that is the end of chapter 4. I hope you enjoyed yourself. See you.